My name is Milo Segi, and this is my Creative Critical Reflection, also known as CCR. Question 1 asks us, how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? Well, in creating my basketball magazine and blog, I use many of the typical conventions found in sports media, while also adding some elements that challenge them. Traditional sport magazines usually include features like bold cover lines, action photos of athletes, headlines, interviews, and statistics. I follow these conventions in my magazine by using a strong cover image of a basketball player, large and bold typography for the main headline, and small cover lines to highlight other stories included in the issue. This makes the magazine recognizable as a sports publication and helps attract readers who are interested in basketball. I also use common conventions in the layout of my articles. For example, I structured my main article with a clear headline, subheadings, and images placed strategically to break up the text. This reflects the style used in well-known sports media outlets like ESPN and Sports Illustrated, where articles are designed to be visually engaging while still delivering detailed sports analysis. However, my product also challenges some conventions. Many traditional sport magazines focus heavily on professional athletes or celebrity players. In my magazine, I chose to highlight a wider range of basketball perspectives, including rising players, the culture around basketball, and the influence of the sport on communities. This allows the product to represent younger athletes and everyday fans, not just famous professionals. In terms of social groups, my product represents basketball fans, young athletes, and the broader basketball community. Basketball is a global sport played and followed by people from many different backgrounds. By focusing on the passion for the game and the culture around it, the magazine reflects the diversity of the sport. The blog format also allows more voices and opinions to be included, making the product feel more inclusive and connected to the real basketball community. Overall, my product both follows recognizable sports media conventions and it expands on them by highlighting the culture, community, and diverse audiences connected to the overall sport of basketball. Question 2 asks us, how does your product engage with audiences and how would it be distributed as a real media text? My basketball magazine and blog were designed to engage audiences by focusing on content that basketball fans are interested in and presenting it in a visually appealing and interactive way. The main target audience for my product were teenagers and young adults who follow basketball and enjoy reading about players, games, and the basketball culture. To engage this audience, I use exciting action images and bold headlines that immediately grab attention. Sport fans are often drawn to this dynamic visual that captures the energy of the game. By using images of players in motion and strong cover lines that highlight key stories, the magazine encourages readers to pick it up and explore the content. Another way the product engages audiences is through storytelling and analysis. Instead of only reporting scores or statistics, the article focuses on deeper topics such as player development, team strategies, and the influence of basketball in the community. This approach keeps readers interested and encourages them to think more about the sport they truly enjoy. The blog also plays an important role in audience engagement. Blogs allow for more frequent updates and a more conversational tone compared to traditional magazines. This format helps readers feel more connected to the content and encourages them to keep coming back for new posts. In terms of distribution, if my product were a real media text, it could be distributed both physically and digitally. The magazine could be sold in stores, bookstores, and sports venues, similar to publications like Sports Illustrated. However, digital distribution will likely be the most effective method for reaching my target audience. This would be hosted on a website and promoted through social media platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. These platforms are widely used by younger audiences and are often where sports discussions and highlights are shared. By combining a magazine and a social media promotion, the product could reach a larger audience and keep fans engaged with regular updates and content. Now, question 3 asks us, how did your production skills develop throughout this project? Throughout this project, my production skills improved significantly as I learned how to plan, design, and create a complete media product. At the beginning of the project, I focused on researching existing sports magazines and blogs to understand how they are structured and how they attract audiences. During the design process, I developed stronger layout and visual design skills. For example, I learned how to arrange images, headlines, and text in a way that looks professional and balanced. Early drafts of my magazine pages were simpler and less organized, but over time I improved the spacing, alignment, and overall visual hierarchy so that the most important elements stand out to readers. I also improved my writing skills while creating the article and post. Sports journalism requires writing that is both informative and engaging. As I worked on my articles, I focused on making the content clear, interesting, and relevant to basketball fans. I also learned how to structure articles with introduction, main sections, and even conclusions so that readers can easily follow the story. Another important skill I developed was editing and revising my own work. After creating initial drafts of my magazine pages, I reviewed them and made improvements based on feedback and my own observations. This process helped me refine the design, correct mistakes, and make the final product more polished. Overall, the project helped me develop skills in media design, writing, planning, and even editing. By the end of the process, I had a much better understanding of how professional media products are created and how different elements work together to attract and engage audiences. Finally, question 4 asks us, how did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? Technology played an important role in every stage of creating my basketball magazine. I used a combination of software, hardware, and online resources to research, design, and produce the final media product. First, I used digital devices, such as a computer and a smartphone, to complete most of the work for the project. These devices allowed me to research basketball content, collect images, and design the magazine pages. In terms of software, I use design tools to create the layout of the magazine pages. These programs help me arrange text, images, and graphics in a professional format. I use features such as text formatting, image editing, and layout guides to make sure the magazine looked organized and visually appealing. Online resources were also very important during the project. I used the internet to research basketball topics, analyze existing sports magazines, and find inspiration for my own design. Looking at major sports media platforms like ESPN and Sports Illustrated helped me understand how true professional sport content is presented. Additionally, I used online platforms to create and publish the blog portion of my magazine. Blogs are an important part of modern media because they allow content to be shared quickly and updated frequently. By using an online platform, the blog could easily reach readers and be accessed from different devices. Technology also helped during the editing and production stages. Digital tools made it easier to revise my work, adjust layouts, and improve the overall design of the magazine pages. Overall, integrating technology allowed me to create a more professional and realistic media product. It also reflects how media companies rely heavily on digital tools and online platforms to produce and distribute content. Thank you so much for your time, and that was my Media Studies CCR.